All right. What's up, everybody? Thank you for tuning in once again to the Unofficial Therapy Podcast. I am Chris Kane. I am here with Chelsey on the beach, apparently. What's up, Chelsey?
Hey, just waiting for my pineapple coconut pina
Oh,
colada,
is that what it
in
is?
a
That looks
Mhm.
that looks like almost a blue solo cup. So is that what they serve in Tulum
um
now?
yes,
Oh,
yes. And it's clear. Um,
oh.
with ice and water.
hmm Chelsea, Chelsea's actually coming to us from the deep south, right? That would be where Mississippi
Yeah,
technically is. Yeah, you're in the part of the south where
the
the south, the south, not North
South
Florida.
with an F.
Yeah, this we've like you're from the part of the south where like they'll have a Confederate flag on their door and you just drive past it, right? Like you're just like, oh, okay, I see what they're about, and you just kind of keep it moving.
It is. I've like Florida has conservatives, sure, and
Yeah,
there's conservative areas, but this is like it is out there in your face, and there's because everybody like their neighbors are like that too. um it's not like people are scared to show that, they're all about rights, Christianity, and grits, so it's
well, let me you put some respect on some grits now. We're not gonna
okay.
we're not gonna
I will say
disrespect
I will
grits
say
now. Okay.
I will say I learned to love some grits out here,
Yeah.
shrimp and grits. That was new to me. I
Yeah.
will say I'll probably take that back. Other
Okay.
than
Fair.
that,
Okay. Yeah. Listen. I'm not here for the rest of it. But we're not gonna come on the Unofficial Therapy Podcast and disrespect grits. That's not what we finna do. Because I grew up on grits and eggs, with maybe some sausage and maybe some bacon and catfish on the good days. That's where I grew up. So I'm here with grits.
that was totally new to me because Hispanics don't have that. We don't have grits. We don't have. I mean, catfish. It's not part of our culture. So a lot of that, yeah, very very strange to me. Like I go places and they have, what is it, deep fried steak or something, like pork chops or something. Like,
Everything.
way to kill it, guys. Like, let's
Listen,
deep fry the pork chop and
it's so good. It's so
put
hard.
gravy on it.
It's bad. Every part of it is bad for you. That's the thing. The pork is bad. The breading is bad. The fry is bad. The only thing that's not bad is the taste, which is amazing. He's like, this is so bad. I shouldn't be eating this. You just keep eating. You know your arteries are clogging. You feel it happening, and you don't stop because it's awesome.
Hmm.
Yeah, I'm here
Yeah.
for it. So that's the one thing that I will say the South has gotten right. Like you mentioned a lot of red flags about the South, which we'll get into in a second. But you always start with something positive before you go to the negative. Let's big up the breakfast in the South because the amount of work they put into biscuits and gravies and eggs and just cheese is flying. Oh, and this butter on
Jesus.
it's butter in your coffee. I'm like, this is the best coffee I ever had. That's butter coffee for you. I was like, oh, is that what that is? I appreciate what you did. Thank you. It's great.
Y- Yeah. Yeah, breakfast is good. I've had some pretty good food. I've had the Southern hospitality thing is a real thing. People are like it's funny. So I'll like so my boyfriend's from the South too. He's from Houston, whatever. And like let's say we'll go on like a walk through like a trail or something like that, some nature trail, and everyone walking past us will say, "Hey, hi, how you doing? Good morning." And I'm like, "Why is everybody saying hi?" And he's like, "Chelsey, it's just a hospital." I'm like, "We don't do that in Miami. We don't do that in Miami. Stop
Right.
looking at me. I
Right.
have like, what do you want? Like, why are you being so nice? Are you trying to take my wallet? Like, what is this?" So when it's stuff like that. It's just it's nice, but then some other moments I have to like remind myself like this is just how they are. Like people are gonna offer you help. People are gonna offer you like when I'm working and stuff like that. There's always somebody who's like, "Oh, do you need a bottle of water? Oh, bless your heart. Okay," and like, "Okay, well, you have a good day," and all this other stuff. So it's nice. It gets a little weird, gets a little creepy. We don't do that on the other side of the state of the country, but it's not a bad thing at the end of the day.
It's a little ironic that Southern hospitality comes in a lot of states that are still very outwardly racist. Isn't that like a weird, like juxtaposition between those two? It's like we're hospitable to everybody, but we also hate this group of people at the same time. Like it's a like when you said it, I was like, yeah, they are. Because I mean, I'm
I
from
think
South, but it's a thing for sure.
I think so, and I can't speak for all the states, but I will say Mississippi, there I think the reputation or a lot of the stereotypes, like I'll be honest, before I came here, I thought like the KKK was gonna be riding on a horse like down the street. Like I really had misconceptions. And
Right.
there, first of all, I mean, I'm in Jackson, the blackest city in like the entire state. I mean, the mayor's black, the police chief is black. It is very black. Um, Not to mention that Mississippi is has the highest black population in the country. Um, I think it's like 30% or something like that of people here are black or something like that. So like, and when you see them, and like there are spaces that sure like there's a lot of historical context, like
Sure.
sunsets towns and different things like that, and like plantations and whatever. Um, but for the most part, I think that people are nice. I think the Southern hospitality sometimes is just passive aggressive behavior in
Mm,
some instances. But I think honestly, generally, I think people do get along. Like I think they find the religion as a common denominator.
sure.
Oh, we're all it's the Bible Belt. Everybody's like, oh, they go to church together, they raise their kids together, they go to school together, and um, I think it's like sometimes it's not so much like I don't know, like I haven't had anybody just straight up come to me with the N word,
Yeah.
like, and
That's
then nothing that I really, really almost expected is it's not like that. Like people are actually pretty nice to each other, but there are some things that are systemic that are around that keeps people down. There's some people who are just prejudiced, not
mm,
even mainly like full on like hang them, but like they do have their preconceived notions of each other really.
sure.
But yeah, I don't know, I will say it's safe to come out here. It's safe. It is safe.
Try to
I,
lure them into the trap.
I have a lot of friends that are like, oh girl, when are you gonna get out of those cornfields and blah blah blah. I'm like, you'd be surprised. Like there's a lot of it, people are kind. It's just um they have a lot of work to get that PR changed to where the rest of the world, the country will see that it's not that bad.
I mean, listen, the PR thing takes a long time. It can, this is multiple generations worth of stereotypes. So like there's still Japanese people dealing with the stereotypes from 1941. So there's, that's two
Hmm.
lifetimes basically. But this is from growing up in Florida, and I'm from like North Florida, so I'm closer to all of this smoke, I guess. I know you're a Miami girl, but whatever. Um, in North Florida, you see a little bit more of it. I think people are generally nice. I think people do want to do right because one, that's biblical to do unto others, treat your neighbor, have whatever. I do think there's a lot of those feelings that are just under the surface. And so you don't, so they can be, hey, Chelsey, have a good day now. And then when they're at the house, that's when whatever, because that gets spread down to your kids. And that's when, so you can, I'm only saying this based on just historical evidence because if kids are coming out at 14, 15 with the same views, they're not learning that like in school. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not good. Schools don't teach that. They're obviously around other students of different races and genders and that kind of thing. So they're getting that from somewhere. And church doesn't teach hate for Jews or hate for blacks. That's not a biblical thing. So where are they getting it from? They get it from TV and they get it from home and from their support groups. So it's, hey, if you see a color or whatever, be nice to them. Don't that chasing you down the street in a pickup truck with Confederates. That's like we're past that. We're not outwardly racist anymore. I think that's being outlawed for real. But just because the law says you can't do this, I don't think that means that people stop feeling that way. And so now the younger generation, because we are on social media, because we have sex with each other, which is a real thing. I think some like the younger kids are like, I don't get racism because like you're a Jewish kid with like an African girlfriend and your kid is mixed. And so you're like, I don't understand where's the problem? And it's happening slowly because the younger generations definitely are less than the previous generation, but they have some of that coming into their adulthood, and then they go to college, they go abroad, or what have you, and that's when they start learning about the world, and they realize, well, I don't hate someone because they're Italian, even though growing up they were X, Y, and Z. So, yeah, I don't think you're gonna be chased down anytime soon. I don't think they're gonna like throw a banana at you. I think you're okay. But yeah,
I will say, there I guess there's been a couple things that are kind of like symbols of hope. For example, the big deal with the state flag. The state flag had a Confederate emblem.
yeah,
Last year, they changed it to a whole different design. And I mean, there's a lot of pressure that was put on the legislators here. I mean, we had like some of these SEC schools that were like, well, if you guys don't change it, we're not playing any games here, which
that's
was,
what happened. That was
some
that
yeah, there
the
was like
SEC
federal
stepped in.
pressure.
It said we will move that game
That
to
money.
Nashville like that. You do keep messing around if you want to,
Yeah,
and they said we'll,
yeah.
we'll take it down. We'll take it down. That's
But
millions.
I think you're right. And I think that, and then when they vote and stuff, it was like, I mean, a lot of people were just like behind this design. And that and also, there's also the Proposition 65, I believe, or Initiative 65 of bringing medical marijuana to the state, which are very notably like progressive things.
Sure.
Um, so I think it's like it's little things like that where it's like, I mean, maybe people are kind of rounding off to do something different. I think the flag was just a big deal. Like, it's obviously this that doesn't get all the
Yeah.
Joe schmoes that are, black people, but it kind of, like I said, it kind of just, I don't know, changes perspective. Who knows what that means for the children that now don't even know what it's like to be in a state that had the former Confederate flag, or Confederate emblem on their flag.
Well,
We'll see.
look, flags are symbolism. That's what it is. That's why like we are so attached to our flag because our flag is attached to our independence and our resiliency as a country and whatever, right? So that's why anytime someone says anything about the American flag, it's like a mutiny against them. It's like we're not going to do that to our flag, even though a lot of people don't even know our American history. There are a ton of people
Mhm.
in the South who don't know what the Confederate flag means. They just have always seen it. It's like, oh yeah, that's just our flag. That's they just say that's Southern pride, and they just move forward with that. They don't know the history. They don't care to know the history. They're just going to move forward. So then having it taken down, it's just maybe initially there's some resistance to people who like are 60 and above who, have known all about this stuff, and now they're trying to change our history, whatever, whatever. But if you're 20 years old, you probably didn't know that much about it anyway. And then by the time you're 30, 35, the flag is just going to look like what the flag looks like. You're not going to be
Yep.
like, remember the good old days when the Confederate things? It's not going to be that like nostalgia. It's going to just be that's just what the flag is. And then every generation after that will just know. It's like kids now with the internet or with iPhones. Like when I was a kid, there was no smartphone. I actually had I didn't get a phone until I was in almost college, but whatever. My first phone was a flip phone. Don't judge me. And I thought a flip phone was everything. Just like put that boy in your pocket. It was a winner. And then like I think my sophomore, freshman year, or whatever, then the first iPhone came out. I didn't get an iPhone until like the iPhone 6. So I missed the whole first handful of generations. But now if you're 15, 16, you've only known a world with iPhones. So it's not weird. Ooh, the iPhone 12. You're like, cool, next iPhone. Let's keep it moving. You don't even think about a world where you couldn't have the internet on your phone or your camera didn't adjust to lighting and doing all this stuff. It's just what you know. And so I,
Hmm.
I think that's the symbolism part. I usually don't care about symbolism. I've mentioned that in the pod before. But in that situation, if you want to change the PR of a state, you start small and then it grows from there, I think.
Yeah, and that's why I say that, like I said, when I talk, I mean, and what I do, all I do is talk to people. I'm in the bigger cities. I'm in these like towns of 5,000 people, residents, where it's like, oh, this we have one gas station, one grocery store. I go around the state all the time, and like from meeting people, there's a lot of people that's like they want to go forward and make things better, but they don't know how, or they stick to old ways of doing things, or And then you have others that are like the super radicals that they really are like, we gotta bring in all these things, and it scares people. I think that's what it is. A lot of it, it's fear. Like if you want to put racism and all that kind of those things aside, there's a lot of fear in change and uh trying something new and all that stuff. And I think that's what a lot of times hurts this just, I don't know about the South in general, but definitely Mississippi. That's the thing. Just people are just so scared to try something different.
I think
Um, but yeah,
I think we've
but there's
mentioned
grits.
we've mentioned this before. I don't know who the guest was, but aversion to change is, I think, the biggest issue for a lot of people, because I always go back to childhood education. I don't mean like 1 to 5. I mean like from 5 to like 12. I think that's the most, not overlooked, but it's not nearly harped on enough, because my background is in mental health, and I think the mental health, a lot of the issues stem from those early developmental years when you leave the household and get around other kids. So I say 5 is like kindergarten basically. When you're now around other kids, you're not around your house all the time. You have 4 to 8 hours around other kids. Maybe you pick up an activity like soccer or a little t-ball, what have you. And that's when kids learn about winning and losing. That's when they learn about people who look different than them. That's when they learn about kids being smarter than them, or somebody being taller than them, or someone being like different hair color, and it's like, what's all this new world? And it's just, oh yeah, you got it, and they just kind of push forward. And those are the times when you learn the lessons of failure, of learning yourself, dealing with crises, um, your own emotions, learning that it's okay to cry, getting in touch with your emotions, that whole thing. I think when you're kids, we put such a premium on learning and such a premium on being right, that they're almost discouraged as kids to fail, which is a necessary component to any growth and any kind of humanity going forward. Because if you, and I always use the example of being in class. Hey guys, what's 4 plus 4 or 4 times 4? And one kid raises a hand. 8. Oh no, sorry, it's 16. And then the class starts laughing. Then that kid is just like, oh. Instead of being like, oh, okay, yeah, because there's 4 groups of 4, I'll be better next time. It's, I'm not raising my hand next time because I don't want to be wrong and I don't want to get laughed at by the other students. So I'm just gonna like retreat into my bubble. And if I'm not like unequivocally right, not even gonna try it. And that's
Hmm.
what leads people to just be safe. They just take the safe route in every approach, but you don't really grow, obviously, and you don't make any tremendous gains by not stepping outside your comfort zone. It's just the nature of the beast. And so then you become a 30-year-old accountant who's just like, yeah, I mean, numbers seem kind of safe, but now you're completely unfulfilled in your life because you never, maybe you really wanted to be like an engineer, work for Lockheed or something, but you didn't want to like go into the entrance exams and have to compete with all those high level people. You just kind of just you put yourself in a small
Yeah.
bubble. So when you said the change thing, yeah, I think that's the biggest thing holding people back. The, I was born this way, or I'm from this area, this is how my family is, and so this is how I'm going to live. And I think that's why we're so, like, progressive thought shouldn't be a wild concept. It shouldn't be political. Progressive thought just means being open to new things and trying new stuff. Progressives don't always work. In fact, a lot of this new progressive stuff doesn't work. But you got to try it to know that it doesn't work. That's just,
Yep. That's that goes for anything, for yourselves and stuff like that. And um, yeah, you're right.
thank you for, thank you.
I'm just sitting here
You
thinking like
did.
that applies to everything, whether you're,
Yeah.
I mean just us. Like we met South Florida,
Yeah.
right? And it's we're now we're totally different parts of the country,
Yeah.
and I don't know about you, I'm probably gonna move again. And after that, I'll probably move again until finally I find something that I'm like, you know what, let's stay here and build something here and whatever. But I feel like for we do that, but a lot of people that's very scary.
Sure.
Um, to try something like to move to say, oh, I'm just gonna go and not know anybody when you get there, or changing careers, or oh, do I date this person, and then like do you all those different things. It's like it's not so easy for one to um like go ahead and just do it.
It's definitely a leap of faith. And I don't know how your family reacted to you leaving, and we're going to get into your career soon. We were supposed to start with that, but as I told you in the pre-show meeting, it never goes that way. Um, like, I don't know how your family reacted to it. My family, when I left from Orlando to Miami, was already kind of like, what are you going to Miami for? We don't have people down there. And then from Miami to LA was like, you're going to be so far from the family. You don't know anyone out there. It's so expensive. Like, it was a lot of that kind of stuff. And I knew that. And it wasn't, I can Google map LA to Miami, but it was, I needed to challenge myself to get to wherever level I thought I should be at. And because my own personal standards are really high, I was like, well, I can be in Miami and be really successful and be very comfortable. But then at some point, I'll be, 40, looking back, like, man, what if I had taken that chance at LA? Now, LA may eventually fail. So far, LA has been great to me. Not always. Oh, it was a rough one at first. Let me tell you. Oh, it was rough at first. And I was like, man, I may have made a mistake. And then as I've been here longer, it's forced me to grow because you have to grow to adapt in a state, in a city as big as what this is. You have to grow because everyone around you is also trying to level up. So if you don't level up, you legit get left behind. And it can happen in a month or two where you feel like, oh, I'm doing okay. And then you look up, it's like, hey, what happened? And if it's really just about reflection, uh, I advise people to find a mentor. If you're in a new space, if you're in a new career, find someone that can feed you because you'll make a lot more mistakes without some kind of guidance. I still make mistakes, but I do have people who are like, hey, maybe you shouldn't do that. And I was like, thank you for your insight because I was definitely about to make a mistake. It's like, I'm about to move again. It's like, maybe you should think about the moving costs. I'm like, oh yeah, that's first, last, security. Then I was like, okay, because you want to live a more comfortable life. And it's like, why don't you just stay in this discomfort for a little bit longer until you can really do what
Yeah.
you want to do. Don't just do it because you can. Is that overall the right place to be? And yeah, it's been this has been a struggle with the fam. They definitely want me back in Florida. They've been sending me subliminals. Would be nice if you was here for your niece for for your nephew's birthday. He was asking about you. I'm like, well, I'll see him soon, I guess. So
There's planes, trains, and automobiles. I my family was a little different. So my mom, she's now in her final year of her medical residency, internal medicine in Puerto Rico. We're not Puerto Rican. She just got an opportunity to keep going in her journey for med school out there. And my brother at the time, he was starting high school. He wanted to be in a baseball academy. It just kind of like, well, you want to do that? There's a school there. I have to do this, and that's where they went. Same thing. I mean, I always tell people, oh, I'm from Miami, blah, blah. I'm really not. I'm actually of South Florida, yeah, but we moved around there too. Um, but I was born in Toronto. My mom's Cuban. Like, we are always moving or going somewhere because of an opportunity, because of whatever we just have to do at that time. Same reason why I ended up in Mississippi to take on my TV job. So me coming here, the bummer has been that is the airport sucks. Like, it's not the airport. So getting out of here has been a lot harder than I expected it to be. I guess I was so spoiled with Fort Lauderdale Airport, Miami Airport, Orlando. Like, I could
yeah,
get out anywhere, anytime.
yeah.
And then with my mom being in Puerto Rico, she would come Friday night, leave Sunday morning, nothing. Like, it was nothing. We could always just find a flight somehow, ride Spirit, ride Spirit, and you'll
Oh,
make it.
shots fired. Wow.
But yeah, so it's like stuff like that is like, so like with me being here, it's just kind of like, like I said, it sucks that we can't see each other more. The whole COVID really showed me like I need to be my next spot. If I'm not like super close to my mom, like in driving distance, I need a valid airport. Anyone that I could always fly, because if she's going to settle in Tampa, that's like she just wants to stay there. I'm like, all right, as long as I can get to Tampa, it doesn't matter where I am in the world. And she's the same way. She's like, well, where she keeps asking me, where do you want to go? Where do you want to go? I'm like, I mean, why? She's like, well, I got to make sure I can get to you. I got to, maybe instead of getting a job in Tampa, I'll get one in Atlanta, or I'll get one in she's like, if you want to go to LA, I guess I'll get something in Denver. Like she's trying to figure out or Houston, where's the halfway point to
Right.
always be close to family. And that's, I like, I understand that. So I guess your family being scared or like whatever concerned, I get that, but it's like, but LAX,
LAX
it's
is
there.
awesome. I
Like
can get anywhere. Yeah.
and and like in my head, nothing is ever permanent. Like you could always kind of change your situation, do something about it, go somewhere else. Like being here, I told myself, I was like, all right, I'm coming here. I'm doing this thing for work, and then if I really don't want to be here, if I really need a change, I could always go home. I could always go somewhere else, try something new, um, whatever. So I think keeping that idea in my head, I can always go home. Nothing's permanent, kind of has helped with that too. Of like moving every time there's a change, I'm like, well, I don't know if I change my hair color. Well, you know what? You could just wear a wig, girl. You could just cut it off. You could just dye it again. I mean, that's it. Really, it comes down to that. Like, oh my God, it's so devastating. In 10 years, it's not going to be a big deal.
It's definitely a
It'll
luxury.
just be something that happened.
It's definitely a luxury women have to just throw a wig on. Like I was like yesterday years old when I found out about the wig game. I was out here bigging up. Oh yeah, man, her hair is amazing. It's like it's not her hair, right? I'm like, it's not. Like, my brain
Listen,
exploded. I didn't know the wigs were that strong.
we are getting more talented. And hey, don't wait, don't, just pull on the women. I'm seeing men now drawing on their hairlines.
Oh
Okay.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
They
The
are
the
the
Beijing, yeah, yeah.
wigs, no, I saw literally as an Instagram, this guy, he like took a like eyeliner, like a pencil, and he drew like
Oh, okay.
and like shaded it a little bit. I was like, DIY hairline? Like
Listen, but he was watching a female like makeup tutorial video. He was like, "Let me go get that. Let me get my baby hair to lay down in the front." And he took some pink
I
oil
see things.
luster, some luster.
I see beards. I saw something. I saw a guy who also made I don't know what kind of like it was like a wig cap. Like he glued the cap and then they they made like faux locks. So he had locks. I was like, so don't come for me and
I
my
think.
wigs or anything else.
Listen, I'm not coming for y'all. Like that's a new phenomenon on the dude side, right? It's like they really are doing some magician work. I've seen a dude go in bald and come out looking like Rastafarian. I've never seen. I'm like, this dude was bald. He looked like DMX. He came out looking like Busta Rhymes in like 1991. It was amazing how much they could do. But that's a new phenomenon for dudes, and usually they have the one style. Like I'm just gonna have the fake dreads, but that's my one wig. I didn't realize that y'all have pantries in your closet where you touch it like a book or a button and it opens up and it's like, this is my wig for lunch. This is my wig for dinner. This is my like workout wig. I was like, I didn't realize the wig game was so complex.
I'm not there. I'm still working with wigs. Like my
Right.
friend, she's very wiggy. She likes to wear lots of wigs, and she'll go drastic. Like it'll be like orange down to the hip, and the next one's like curly and red and like here. And I'm like, how? I have one that I use for a party, but I've been looking at others because there's just some days where I don't want to do this thing. Like I washed it just for you today.
We appreciate it. Thank you for giving us a real
Any
you.
other
Yeah.
any other day that there's something else going on up here because I always tell people if my hair is up in a puff, just know there was something happened that morning that was not going as planned, and we just had to
Put it away.
get it out.
You put it in the dresser. Let me just put this hair up. I'm not doing this today.
Set it and forget it.
That sounds like an infomercial. Ladies, set it
I
and
forgot which one it is.
forget it. It was not the flavor wave.
Isn't that the rotisserie?
It was a rotisserie one. It was like, so you put it in, put it through the little skewers, put it on 30, set it, and forget it. And they started plotting.
And then
It's
there was
so
an
stupid.
asterisk because it was like, no, please check on it like every 10 minutes to make sure
It's like also
it's cooking.
it's like also it's not gonna be done in 30 minutes. We're just doing an infomercial. Don't eat this meat and don't buy this product.
It's actually an easy bake oven light.
That wasn't that the ultimate hustle, the easy bake oven. Like people thought was in here cooking for real. That was just a light inside of a box, and I was like, "How are they making brownies? How does this thing even work?" And it's
I,
just
and you had to use their easy bake food stuff because that's the only way. Because now I think about it now, I'm like a lot of stuff. That stuff. Oh, add some water, mix it, put it in there, wait 10 minutes, and all of a sudden there's a brownie. How? And it's like, yeah, because that mix has some stuff in it that
uh,
can rise with a light bulb.
listen.
Mm.
If we cooking under the lights, like if we look back on what that is now, is like we're gonna get one of those commercials where they talk real low. Did you buy an easy bake oven between 1991 and 2005?
Yes,
You may be entitled to
yes,
compensation. That conversation, that interview
me.
is coming. You may be entitled to compensation. You also probably have mesothelioma. Is that where mesothelioma comes from? The easy bake oven? Because those commercials was
Because
killing it.
yeah, yeah, I had an easy bake oven once upon a time. I love that thing. I had the one that you had to like this long purple stick and like you'd have to push the little pans through.
Like he
Good
was making a
times.
pizza, like you're making a pan fried pizza. Oh man,
That
that brownie was so painstaking. I had to like open the wrapper and put like 2 tablespoons of water. It's just I'm really baking right now, baby.
as a kid, I really wanted to I would look in there like try to see like how it's working. But yeah, now you find out it's just a light bulb.
It's just cracking, baby.
Tough.
But we've been beating around this the whole time about what you do for a living and where. That's what got this whole thing started. We talked about the easy bake oven. We talked about mesothelioma, you being entitled to compensation. So let's get to it. What is it that you're doing in Mississippi? And I kind of tell us about how that journey has been for you.
So I'm a TV news reporter, and general assignment. So it's just kind of like whatever's happening, that's what I get to cover as news. A lot of it's, I mean, it's been weather, it's been crime, it's been politics, unfortunately, which is I don't feel 100% confident on. But it is what it is. Sometimes they just kind of give you they the news team, they'll brief me on some things and say, all right, go at it, and interview the people, find the story, and that's what journalists do. We are kind of like I want to say jack of all trades in the sense that you got to know a little bit of everything. And what you don't know, you have to go ahead and find it and learn about it to be able to tell somebody else about, because that's what we do. We're supposed to be that in between of, hey, the governor had a press conference for an hour. What the heck did he talk about for that hour? I have to tell you in about 2 minutes, give you the gist of what he said in case you missed it or in case you didn't understand. Just give you a gist. Then you watch it on TV or you go online and you read the article and you watch the clip. Um, and back in the day, you had the reporter, you had the photographer, or the videographer, whatever you want to call it, and you were a duo out there getting these news stories. Now, one man band is what we like to call it. I am the person running my camera. I am the person setting up these interviews. I'm the one looking for these stories. I come back. I listen to the interview. I break it down, write a script. I mean, everything you see is probably done. Like every news story that anyone watches is probably all put together by one person. If you're lucky enough to have someone else with you, I mean, or even live, even when I go live, sometimes it's not just like, it's usually just me like in front of this camera that I have set up, and there's this like little backpack that helps us go live. Like I'm just standing alone somewhere. Unless it's like super unsafe, then usually we'll get some help. But the industry has moved into a way where it's just cost effective more than anything. Um, but oh, I don't know who that is. I've been getting a lot of robocalls lately trying
Oh
to
yeah.
ask if I want to sell my house in
Oh.
Florida. And it's like, who are you? And no, I don't want to sell my house because now I want to know why you want to buy it.
Oh yeah. They
Because
know
that
what it
means
is.
that my property something's gonna be worth something. So we're just gonna leave it where it
Yeah.
is until
Hey,
I think it's safe.
we can offer you 10. We can offer you 10% more. So you telling me it's worth 30% more? Is that what we're doing right now? No, I'm not selling you.
ridiculous. But yeah, they've been calling and asking for things. But anyway, so yeah, so with I have no money.
It's
I
like
don't.
they call you. Do you have any sugar? Who is this? Is this a robot? That's so stupid. All right, sorry, continue.
So sometimes they even call you and like say that the car in warranty and all that stuff. I hate scammers. Anyway, but yeah, so with work, that's mainly what I do. It's just every day is something different. I think, let's see, last week with what happened at the Capitol, at the US Capitol, I talked to some BLM organizers here, just kind of their reaction to what happened. How do they compare, I guess, the police reaction, whatever, things like that. I also did a story about a planetarium that's been closed here for like now it's 2021, so 3 years, and just kind of like what is the update with that. So sometimes it's like a big story, like, oh, they're changing the flag in Mississippi, it's snowing today, whoa, like there's a lot of big stuff. And other times it's like, all right, city council meeting, they're raising the 2% tax, and this, and for the most part it's good. Like, it's, I like that every day is different. I like that every day I can start here at home and then I end up somewhere 3 hours away, um, talking about something, and meeting people and being in some random towns, and just places that I know without this job I never would have gone to, never would have heard of, and just kind of learning how other people live, and just kind of like what their day to days are like. So in that regard, it's like it's fun, but it is a very stressful job, in general. Like,
Yeah.
between what we cover, um, how much I have to do in a day, and even when I'm off, I almost kind of feel like I have dreams of like, oh God, you missed the meeting. Oh God, you didn't go to the interview, Chelsey. Do you have an idea for the 2 o'clock? Like, I don't. It's a lot. It consumes a lot out of me. Not to mention, so with my station specifically, some others have done the same. A lot of us started working from home. We have all the equipment to do it honestly pretty well. Like, I can send all the video back. I have my news card, my equipment, so I can just go to the location I have to be. And then it's like, if there's nothing I have to leave the house for, I'm just sitting in my living room working. Um, I like it. I like being home. I'm not those kind, like some people like, oh God, they have to like I laugh at my boyfriend all the time. He has to like put on his work clothes, even if he's working from home. He has to put on like work clothes, and then like when he's off the clock, you see, honestly, like, it's so funny. It's like, all right, 5, 6 o'clock hits, the pants switch to gym shorts. I'm like, oh, you're off. Like, I'm not like that. I can.
That's like the
It's
Superman thing. The Clark Kent. You
right. It's like,
walk in the booth with the Daily Planet, take it off, and you got spandex on. It's like, oh, I'm just off work. Let me go save the day. I'm like, man.
that's so he has like that. But me, I'm like, as long as in my head it's TV ready, I am dressed from the hip up. That's all people see at home anyway. So like, I have like my nice shirt, maybe my hair is up, whatever. I'm ready to go in that aspect. But I can work from home, and it's nice. However, with like, this is probably the only time that this is talking to like journalists that have been in it for 20 something years. This is the only time we've ever had to cover something that has lasted so long
Mm.
and that affects us directly. I'm sure there have been other things, but COVID specifically and is like, I'm telling people to wear masks on TV, but I have to wear a mask too. I'm telling you, hey, Kroger ran out of toilet paper. I can't get toilet paper either. Like, this is one of those things where it's like everyone's hurt. Or everyone is kind of tired and exhausted, in like, I'm telling people, hey, mental health. Well, my mental health, like, I'm tired. So, um, that's the only thing. And then we started working from home like end of February, March, and we don't really. I remember they were like trying to bring us back like June, and then the cases were rising and things like that, and it's just like, oh no, like we can't, we have to just keep working from home. And now what, we are in January. um it's we're I mean, I highly doubt we'll be back in March, like full staff. It's just no
I,
way, like
I don't see
for
it
all
either.
of us to be back. I don't see that vaccine and all, you know what I mean? Like there's a lot of hope and stuff like that, but like I don't see us being back in the building. So it's like a whole year. And it's for the best for many reasons, mainly just because like the outbreaks, we don't, at work, our desks are too close. And what I do, I'm always around people.
Right.
I'm always at risk. You know what I mean? Like if there's a protest downtown, I can't record it from my computer.
It's
I
like,
have to go.
he's like, hey, yo, fam, can you back up 6 feet? All right, cool. So this is, it's like, you got to be up in
Oh,
there.
and
Yeah.
and I do try to like when I'm working on a story, like I have my mask and I have my hands are so dry from sanitizer, all that stuff. And it's just kind of like it's just tiring because everybody, like, I'm very grateful to have been able to work 100%. Um, I mean, I do these stories all the time about people not being able to work when everything was closing and things like that. Mississippi's closure wasn't as extreme as some other states, California, but
Oh, don't say that too loud. It's gonna be the boogeyman that's gonna come get you.
I
We
know,
can't even talk
but
about it.
but like, so I like I said, I'm grateful that I have been able to work despite everything that's going on because they do need us. And there are some news stations that had to let people go because they just didn't have the money, um or the sales or the ads or whatever to keep staff because of what's going on. Um, but at the same time, I'm like, I kind of wish there's just a time where I was able to just not think about this stuff, like not think about it, not read about it, not talk about it, not anything, and just kind of just, I don't know, whatever. Maybe I could have learned to knit, make some banana bread. I didn't have that time, that phenomenon where everybody was like discovering things, like, oh my God, I'm gonna sew, I'm gonna start a garden. I don't got a garden. I didn't sew. I've been the same. Like I've been out there doing things, trying to still keep people informed while also like trying to watch TV and like read a book or just kind of find a way to zone out in between it all. So,
We
but
talk.
hmm?
So we talked in the pre-show, and I'm transitioning just because I think this is an easy segue. We talked pre-show about what would be your next thing if it wasn't this thing, because like you said, you're in this cycle of make a story, do all the mixings, put it out. The next day, we need another story, and you're doing so. You're on the hamster wheel in a weird way, where a lot of people are at home wishing to be working. You're working, and it's like you're in the pressure cooker because even when you're not like working, you see the news, stuff is happening. So you know, I may have to report on that tomorrow when I am working. So it's like even your off day, you're still kind of on. And so we were talking about what you could possibly do if you weren't doing this, and I wanted to like give you a platform to talk about that.
So I think that there's a lot of, um, and this was for a while, I was kind of thinking of what else can my skills translate to, right?
Mhm.
And I, I use social media like most people. I'm more of a lurker than I am a poster.
That's so
And I've
creepy.
looked at, I
Why'd you say that? Just like,
because you know what it is. It's like okay, Instagram. If you look at my Instagram, my last post is maybe from December, but before that was October. But I see what everybody else is doing. I'm watching your stories. I'm liking your
uh,
pictures. I see
this,
your tweets. You know what I mean?
I
Like
feel
I'm
like
here.
I feel like you should be in jail for what you just said. This is incrimination. You're like one of those rappers. Yeah, so drugs. But like, don't do that. Like they could throw you in jail for your words. Like you're like, yeah, I was lurking. I may have been low key Facebook stalking, but you know, I'm giving y'all the
So
news. It's like it doesn't make it better.
I mean, I just I consume the content as much as anybody else. So when I look at that stuff and or and my boyfriend hates this too. It's like I will watch something and I'll be like, oh, did you see how they edited that? oh, why did they use that transition? Oh my gosh, this lighting. Oh, those colors don't work. Because I'm always in that like video content creation mode.
Sure.
So with all that, I kind of see like maybe I could be like somebody's social media marketing like assistant or something, or lead, or like, and I don't really understand marketing per se. I do understand what's captivating. I know like content wise. So it's like maybe I just could be, like, oh, well, you need content. I can make it for you. You just got to tell me what you,
Right.
or sometimes I think of like maybe being a public relations communication specialist. Uh, a lot of schools, hospitals need that. Like government buildings, like say a mayor's office or public works, or there's a lot of different departments that need stuff like that. And just kind of being, uh, I think just kind of being able to create without the pressures that television broadcast news has.
Sure.
um
I get that.
we have to make so much in a day, we have to meet so many deadlines. I think just kind of being able to breathe, like if I could have someone, even if they just told me, hey, can you make me like a 2-minute clip of so and so making a pizza for that pizza shop down the street. I just need it by Friday, and I'm looking at it's like Monday. I'm like, all right, yeah, I'll have it done before the sun's down. And if you don't like it, we're gonna keep looking at it until Friday, and it's gonna be great. Like
Right.
I've learned all those things. I just want to be able to, I don't know, just kind of find a more creative outlet and just kind of look for a work-life balance. That's something that there's a lot of things I've learned in the pandemic with all the work, is that I want to be able to just kind of like, oh, when, it's 5 o'clock, all right, clock off, it's over. Like,
Right.
that's it. You take off your pants and put on the gym shorts kind of thing. So I want to get into something like that and just kind of, yeah, just find something more creative to do. I feel like worst case scenario, I can find my way back to news. They always need somebody. It's not like I mean, like I'm just kind of taking advantage of that. Everything's lining up for me to leave right now.
So, given what you want to do and given what the climate is, everybody's more online now, right? There's not as many content creators as there are people like you lurking, being creepy on social platforms. So, given how many people are trying to monetize social media, is there like a website? Is there like a freelancing kind of joint where you can team up with these content creators? Because a lot of them have good ideas, but aren't necessarily great editors. They're just like people like, oh, all right, I got a good idea. All right, me and my girlfriend are quarantining and we're having an argument, but we can't leave because we're in a 1-bedroom apartment. Can you do something with that? And you're like, yeah, and that's actually a good concept. Steal it if you want to. But it's like, I'm so mad. You go to your corner, you guys just stand there like this, but you can't go anywhere. It's like, go outside. Well, it's snowing. All right, well, but they gave you the idea and they said, can you do something with it? I feel like, is there a way to marry those two? Because they want, since everybody's creating content or trying to, the best ones stand out or the most creative ones stand out because since we're all trying to do it, right? Is there like a way to kind of let people know, hey, I got the skill set for it, or is it a per video basis? Is it like I don't know how you would go about actualizing this idea, but I think it's an easy one because I know a couple content creator type people and they make a lot of money doing stuff, but they have a whole team. But there are people who are below them who want to get to their level and don't have the resources yet. And maybe you could be a resource.
I think it's how to find those people. I think there's different ways. Like there are like I think it's called Fiverr. There's a
Oh
lot
yeah,
of
Fiverr's a
freelance
thing.
websites out.
Yeah,
There we go. There's a lot of freelance websites that are looking for people who can make content, whether it's writing and editing, whatever. They need somebody, and that's one place to look. I think another thing too, and I gotta get better at that, is when I see that someone could use something that I do, is kind of like reach out to them, be like, hey, I could do this and that for you, and then try to sell myself that way. And I think that's what it is. Another thing too is I feel like a lot of times with content creators, they want to learn how to do it themselves, and because you can,
sure.
it's a lot. It's a lot, and it will take time to learn to the skill set of someone who is like formally trained, or find the right shortcuts because now there's an app for everything. But I don't know. I feel like I that's what I would do. It's like a Fiverr, like kind of website. Maybe reaching out to people where it's like, have you thought of doing this? Or what kind of editing do you use? Like just kind of put in those questions, those feelers, and then just kind of hope that they are cool with that. I think how old am I? I'm 26. So yes, I've spent over 10 years starting my YouTube channel.
Oof.
You
you
know,
better
like I,
you better
when I
put it
was like
out there.
12, when I was 12 or 13, everybody was on YouTube in like 2007, 2008. So I was super like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do that. Like I want to make stuff. I can't think of something to do. Like I have ideas and then I either see someone else do it and I'm like, oh, I don't want to do that. Or I want to figure out how I'm going to stand out, how I'm going to be special, blah, blah, blah. And I just haven't done it. I don't know. And it's so goofy because I don't know, like let's say I eat something really good. I'm like, oh my God, this food is so good, blah, blah. My friends are like, why don't you be a food critic? Why don't you make videos about it? I'm like, but everyone's doing that. Like,
I,
what do I do that's different? Is it just different because it's me?
I mean, I think at this point, people are buying the creator more than the content. And it sounds
Mm,
like your idea is like a little bit of everything. And that could really be the idea of the channel. You don't have, it's like Seinfeld. It's a show about nothing, but it's a show about everything at the same time. Like this is me, this is a podcast channel about everything, but also nothing in particular. It's like this is my food review, this is my editing kind of review, this is my hair tutorial, this is my, home for the holidays with Hispanics. This is like there's all the things that you have some hand in. It says your job now requires you to know a little bit about everything. It seems like a natural thinking pattern because you've already been doing that. And because I think the issue is you're trying to settle in on one thing and your brain inherently wants to do a lot more than one thing. And that's why you're
yeah.
kind of getting into. So I would just, like I tell everybody who comes on the pod, just start doing it and then let it go where it goes. This podcast started as a straight up therapy podcast. Like, I don't like my boyfriend, and I just feel like for me, that's how that's how it started. And it was like, let's talk it through. We still have to do that sometimes. It's progressed into more about helping and the community coming together and putting ideas out and habits, routines, personal growth. That's where it's evolved into. And there's still the elements of the original part, but I came on this thinking I was going to be like Hitch on a podcast, essentially. And that's kind of where it was for like the first 40 episodes. We're now at episode like 110. That was a long
Mm.
time ago. But it naturally moved that way. I had guests on and they wanted to talk about their careers and their passions. And I feel like that's where this is going to go and kind of keep evolving. I had to just get started. Got a microphone, got a sexy mic. Look at this mic. Woo! I got a sexy mic, got a ring light, all that good stuff. And just said, let's just start making content. And the audience who wants it will find it. That's how everything works. You start anything, every YouTube person started with something. An audience latched onto it, they reposted it, this person kept creating, and those by marriage grew. And the more dope the content was, the bigger they became. And the bigger they became, the more they started feeding their audience. Hey, what do you guys want me to do? Well, you've been doing a lot of hair tutorials, but what about the guys? We don't wear wigs as much. And he's like, all right, let me do something for the fellas. And then now you're servicing your audience. Then you do your Patreon, you get your advertisements, and that's how you monetize all the stuff. But just get started. Put deadlines on yourself the way you have deadlines for your job. Be like, all right, I'm going to post one video a week, whatever it is. It doesn't have to have a time limit. It could be a 2 minute video. It can be, a 15-minute video. Depends on how you want to live it. Set boundaries for yourself and then be accountable to yourself. That's really, and then you do that every week until you decide you don't want to be on YouTube anymore. That's the
I hate that you're right.
that's as simple as I can make it. Now you can make it, but what if my editing and you can do all the other stuff. The basic thing is set a deadline, be accountable to yourself, and then just do it weekly. That's it. Everything else is minutia. Everything else is life. Everything else is excuses. Because as you said, you
Right.
can edit a video that goes out to the public in 3 hours. That has to be professional, this and that. If it's you in your house, you can probably put a video together in an hour, maybe an hour and a half, if you're just servicing your audience. So it's 168 hours in a week. Can you take one or two to put something out to the people? I mean, hey, who am I? I'm just a guy on the podcast. That's it.
I just don't like that you're right. And I've heard this and I just,
No one
gosh,
does. No one likes when I'm right. They hate me.
ah, I feel like, and it's funny. This is the kind of stuff I say to, well, did it? Okay, we're good. Anyway, it like slow down for a second. But anyway,
So,
this is the kind of stuff I say to my friends. So like, I have a friend. She has a podcast. Hers is all about anime and
oh, we got to link
Japanese
up
or
because
whatever.
I have an anime podcast, the coolest nerds you ever met podcast. Check us out on all DSPs, Spotify, Amazon. You know where we at. Uh, the
Well,
story.
yeah. So Destiny, my friend's name is Destiny, and hers is getting animated. And she started this whole thing where, I mean, it's not a huge part of her brand, but she is a Black girl who likes anime, nerd stuff, whatever. And that's kind of part of her brand, her push. She first started it like maybe 2, 3 years ago, and she, um, like every time she's kind of like, oh, or I don't know, I'm not sure, whatever. I'm always there like, do it, go ahead. Or what does this look? Or she'll like ask her opinions. I mean, she has organically grown her podcast. I mean, it's not even just a podcast now. It's like her Instagram is like at some like at least 20, 30,000 followers. She works with she helps do stuff with Crunchyroll, which is a big I think distributor of anime, something like that.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not
It's
good.
like it's like a house
Other than
where all they
Sailor
all live. Yeah.
Other than Sailor Moon, I don't know what's going on over there. But I
Oof.
try to give her I try to give her help
It's an old
in
reference.
I try to give her help in the world of like um just the editing and putting things out there and just kind of that motivator. And I tell her all the time, or like when we were like young and applying for jobs, it would be something like, oh girl, they want 10 years of experience. I'm like, okay, well, we've been here on earth for 20 years. So
Oof. You just lying.
apply.
Are you just lying on your resume? Is that what are you advocating on this
No,
public platform to lie on your resume?
no, not even that. What I've been
Okay, cool.
telling her is just kind of like, don't like, you can't let them reject you. Like, don't you can't be mad that you don't get a job if you didn't apply. Like,
Right.
just put it out there. I was like, worst case scenario, you don't get it. You didn't have enough qualifications. Oh dear. I mean, how many jobs have we thought that we actually were going to get and didn't get?
A bunch of them, yeah.
So it's like I always tell I don't know. So yeah, so that's why you saying, oh, just gotta start it. Shut up. I know, okay, I know. Because I
I never,
told
I
my
never,
friend to just start it and she did, and she's doing great. So whatever.
I never been told to shut up on my own podcast before. That's like coming to somebody else's house and being like, "Yo, what's in the fridge?" I'm like, "Hold up, fam, you don't live here. You can't just disrespect the house. You in there pulling out like ham and bread. Like, I'm about to make me a sandwich." I'm like, "You don't live here." But I understand what you're saying. This is first of all, we need to link up with your friends for our podcast because it's myself and two other black guys, and we're the coolest nerds because we're all three personal trainers. We're all in good shape. Marvin and me both play football. Raph is a martial artist, and we're talking about not Sailor Moon because they don't have new episodes, but other podcasts and I'm sorry, other animes. And our whole thing is with three black dudes talking about anime stuff, and that's kind of our angle. But we've only been at it for like 10 months, so we're still new in the game. But we have merch and we're growing. But again, it's like we're just now taking the video editing up a little bit. We've been doing a lot of Zoom. We were doing it in person before, obviously, and so we're adding little elements to make it more diverse, theme music, all that good stuff. But that's the thing. It's just slowly but surely growing. We have one episode that has like 170 views or something, which is dope because we're still like in our infancy. But like you told her, and like I'm telling you, like you should tell you when you look in the mirror, hey, let's just do something. What's my next off day? Okay, Thursday. Guess what I'm doing Thursday? You guessed it. I'm making content. For who? This person and for the American people. And so I'm putting your
But let
future
me
fire.
ask.
All right.
So so you have this podcast, you have that other podcast,
Mhm.
and I know you still do comedy and stuff like that.
That
Do
virtual
you ever
comedy this Friday. Friday's Funnies. Check us out. We're plugging everything right now.
so when you so when you do these, so don't you feel like you're doing too many projects? Like, do you ever feel
Mhm.
like, is it, do you start one thing and really push that up before you pick up something else, or do you just kind of like, if the idea sparks, go ahead and start it, and even though you have other things going on?
They're compartmentalized. So like my virtual shows are bi-weekly. So the week of the show, that gets a lot more of my attention, and especially the 2 or 3 days around it. That's when you're doing the last minute reach outs, making sure your talent is going to be there on time, all that good stuff. Once the show's over, the next week, I basically put that on ice. I don't like think about it too much. I'm booking my shows more in advance now, so I don't have to worry about like having a lineup. But that's chilling for that. The podcast days are the days I do the podcast. So we're doing this now. This won't air until probably Wednesday, and I have one later today that won't air for a week. But my production quality on this is very limited. We're on Zoom. We have the mic. I'm on GarageBand. I put the intro music on, run it straight to Apple, and then the RSS feed puts it everywhere. So I don't have to do as much. Really, the hardest thing is scheduling an interview and then doing it. The rest of it is I'm not. This isn't like a video creation. So in this regard, this is pretty easy. The anime pie is a little bit more involved. It's two other people, and we have different segments, and we have to like. But even that's maybe 2 hours of my week. There's really not that
Hmm.
much time involvement. I spend most of my time creating other stuff. Like I've been writing scripts and stuff during this time. And so I would write daily, but I'm thinking about the script constantly. So that would, but there are some days where I'll be in a groove writing and that would just take over. And I'm writing for 2 hours, whatever. And so the whole thing is I don't want to be stretched too thin. Everything I'm doing is ideally pushing in the same direction. Like my comedy shows are an extension of me, my comedy, and the way I want to empower people on the podcast. I want to do that for the comedy shows. I want to bring people who you don't know to a platform where people can see them and be like, hey, this person's really talented. The same way people who follow me probably don't follow you. They go, oh, I like her. I'm looking forward to following her YouTube channel. So it's like the idea is the same. So even though they're different tasks, they all go to the same direction. Even my merch line, this is merchandise I'm wearing right now. I'm not bragging. It just is what it is. So it's all a brand. It's all like a philosophy. This isn't for me necessarily. I'm a conduit to the people. I want to. People tend to want to work with me and be around my space because of my personality type, not because I'm like have a bunch of money, whatever. It's just like I'm an easy person to work with, and so I have you know, procured a lot of talent from a lot of different venues and places and people who are just like, yeah, I'll do a pod with you, or yeah, I'll hop on your show, and we're just pushing all that forward. And my belief is that at some point, one or two of these is going to push through, and then once one pushes through, that becomes priority. And then you put the most amount of attention, and this is how the military works. You put the most amount of attention in whatever the first most pressing matter is, and then you go down the list of things that are more important. So my comedy show, because there's more moving parts, always gets more attention than my podcast do, because I got 6 or 7 performers, tickets to sell. That's way more energy. And then you just go down what requires less and less and less. And that's how you kind of manage your time. So you don't get
Hmm.
overwhelmed and don't stress out too much.
Makes sense. I, like I said, I just kind of, I wonder because everybody kind of, usually that's described like a juggling act, like, oh, you got to do it all at one time, and but um compartmentalizing, I have to slow it down and say it,
It's all right.
uh does make sense in that regard.
And listen, they all grow at organically different times. This podcast is like 4 years old. So I've been doing our physiotherapy podcast for a minute. So this has a rhythm. That's why when we discussed it before, you're like, what are the questions and all that? I'm like, don't worry about it. It's going to flow. Because now I have, 70, 80 other episodes to lean on experience wise. I know I can sit down with someone, not even really know what they do. And once we start talking, my brain will give us questions or give us direction. And then I'll feed off of them. And then we'll go and we'll be like 40 minutes in, like, dude, we haven't talked about anything yet. but it's good. The content is good. So this came first, and then the anime pod came second, and then the comedy shows came out of necessity for COVID. But then once things open back up, the virtual shows will probably go away, and I'll go back to real life shows, which are only once a month in person, and so that requires even less effort than the virtual one does bi-weekly. So yes, these are when I tell you what I'm doing. It's like, man, you got a lot of things going on. It's like, yeah, but adding one, I took some stuff away. Like I'm not at the gym for 8 to 10 hours a day. So I have more time. I have my private clients, but maybe I have 3 or 4 clients a day. And that's maybe even with commuting 5 hours as opposed to 8 to 10. So I have more hours to do more things. And these are all things that I think at some point will pay off for my creativity and my whatever.
Are you still getting 7 to 8 hours of sleep? Or are you one of those I got to start at 5 a.m.
Nah, I've
to
never been a
get the
good.
most out of my day?
I never been a good sleeper, even when I was a kid. I'm a restless sleeper because my brain works mostly at night, and also comedy is at night. So I think my brain, I'll do a set
Mm.
at 9, 10, 11, and go home and be rehearsing the set, trying to figure out ways to make it better. But now it's like midnight, 1 in the morning. I'm like, I gotta change that opening or punch that joke up or speed up, whatever. I'm doing that part of it when I should be like, whoo, long day, time to go to bed. I'm like, I gotta make that joke better because I want to get more laughs. And then next thing you know, it's 2 in the morning. I'm tossing and turning. I don't get as much sleep as I want to. And it's like 7 in the morning, and I'm up again, and the process repeats itself. I almost never get 8 hours of sleep. But
Hmm.
what are you gonna do?
I mean, you're still, well, you're doing something while you're up then. That's
Oh, I'm
better than
moving.
nothing.
No, I'm moving, baby. It's like, hey, I'm over here now. Then I'm over here. Guess what? I'm over here now. Like I've even later today. I have another pod later today, but I'm trying. Well, not even trying. I'm going to speak it into more concrete talk. I'm setting up a gym situation at my house. I have a bunch of equipment, but I don't have a gym setup. I don't have
Hmm.
enough. I don't have enough free weights to do what I want to do. So I've been making do with what I have, which is still okay comparatively. But I'm like taking the pot to the next level, taking my comedy shows to the next level. Fitness wise, I've been very stagnant, which is okay by most standards because I'm a trainer, so I'm already in good shape. I've been maintaining, but I haven't grown. I'm not faster. I'm not stronger. I'm not leaner than I was pre-COVID. So how do I take it up a notch? Well, I'm not going to pay a gym 200 a month when I was doing gyms for free. That's an extra expenditure that I don't want to like add to my life already. And I have a little balcony here, so I can that we don't put chairs in. It's just a balcony. It's just chilling. So wait, I can put
Hmm.
stuff out there. So now it's about what's most efficient for the space, what equipment has the most utility, because that is the trainer brain kind of coming together. And then let's price everything out, which is where I am now. And now it's finding the equipment because they've been price gouged to heaven, and it's kind of crazy. But I think I have it priced out. I think I have locations, and so this is my goal is within the next week to 2 weeks because time limits work for people to have this set up to where if I want to do a good workout, I don't have to worry about when the gym's going to open up or what I can make shift. I don't have to make shift. I have this stuff set up for myself. That's what I'm doing later. So yeah, you're always pushing forward. You're always trying to get better, and getting better is incremental. This is what I think people put enough emphasis on. Getting better is incremental. It's literally 1% a day. It's literally one activity a day. It's one habit. It's little things that go a long way. And if you employ enough of these habits, you employ enough of these good strategies, you improve a little bit over. Think about improving in one thing a day for a month. That's 30 things worth of improvement, 30 days worth of improvement. If you say I'm going to read a book every day, I read every day. That's part of my routine. And it used to be, oh man, I forgot to read, and it was like me at 11:59, like trying to get some pages in. Now it's part of my morning routine. Wake up, wash my face, listen to my meditation, devotional stuff. Then I read. Then I make breakfast. So by the time I finish eating breakfast, I've already done 3 or 4 things to get me on the path to a good day. It's like 9 o'clock, but I already read for the day. So now I'm like, I'm clear. I'm not worrying about can I get reading in later in the day. I got that out of the way. I have other tasks to do, but let me knock that out. And that's a much better morning routine than wanting to read every day, kind of forgetting about it, and then trying to fit it in when you're getting ready for bed, dinner, maybe you have a night out or whatever. It was just way too much stress. I had to change my routine to make it more feasible to my day.
Routine. I need that. Because like I'm pretty it's so funny. Like my so work is all time management. That's
Mhm.
literally what runs my job. Like I'm constantly, even working from home, I'm like, okay, if like this event is at such and such place that's 2 hours from where I live, so I need to be there by this time. And when I get there, it's probably gonna last this much time. And I have to have everything in 6:30, because if I'm not at my desk with my computer by 6:30, I am screwed for the rest of the day. Like I have all that lined up. But then personal life, I'm just kind of like, good night. Like I don't, the time management is like, it's not like I'm bad with time management. It's just, I don't do enough of that with my own life, especially with, like you said, like reading. I have all these books. That's like a guilty pleasure of mine, is buying used books or just buying books and then just looking at them because I'm not going to read it, or I start reading and then get halfway and then something happens where I lose interest. And it's not even just reading, it's just different, like rooms for, I feel like I don't have time for my hobbies, which is so stupid, because it's like, if it's a hobby, you should just always find or feel like you can or want to. And um but instead, it's like when I'm not working, for the most part, one, to get myself out of bed is like another, like I wake up but I don't actually get up until like maybe 3 hours later, or until like my bladder's like, all right, girl, we gotta get up and brush these teeth. So, and it's like that's time wasted. Like if I would find a way to kind of reorganize, like I said, like you said, add a routine, or manage my time better, then I could get more done in my day. But by the time I like motivate myself to do something, whatever that something is for the day, it's already like 4 o'clock.
Well,
And
look,
the sun's coming down and it's time for me to get back in that bed I couldn't get up from.
we're going to wrap up the recording. We can keep talking off air, but I want to wrap the recording up because we're at our limit now. But where can people find you on? Well, you're not even on social media, so I can't say where can they find you. Where can you find other people to stalk? Like, where can people follow your YouTube journey, or if people want to
What?
like see more of you?
Okay, well, I have nothing on YouTube, so I'm not gonna put that out there. But I am on Instagram, so WTH Chelsea, of course. Um, and yeah, I guess that's it. That's the best place to find me.
Like, that's the best place for you to
if I
find
if
her,
I
but she's not going to be
if
on
I
there doing
ever
anything.
actually get out there, if whenever I actually put myself out there and make things and stuff, it will probably be Instagram first, because
Right,
that's where we're all using right now,
right, of course.
for
Okay.
sure.
Well, look, Chelsea, this has been amazing. We're gonna continue a little bit about some habits and stuff off air because they've already heard me say it on the pod, so no need to regurgitate. But thank you guys for tuning in. Last time we did an episode, I told you I wanted to have a set day to post these. I put that out to my listeners. The day is going to be Wednesdays because it's right in the middle of the week. I think Hump Day is just funny, and I'm a comic, and so I'm gonna go with the comic angle on this. Right in the middle of your week, the week may start off a little crazy. You come Wednesday, you get in the pot. All right. I'm setting that for myself. If I don't do it, then you guys can hold me accountable. But I'm going to do it because that's what I said I'm going to do. So we will see you guys next week. Thanks for tuning in. Chelsea, thank you for being yourself. I thought you were great, even though I know you were a little bit nervous. They're going to enjoy you. And we will see you guys next time. Deuces.